Today in the Diz List, we talk to Nick about his recent trip to Walt Disney World.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Robin. Welcome to episode 108, where we talk to Nick about his recent trip to Walt Disney World.
I'm guessing that when I was gone, Rob got bored because we couldn't record.
No.
Was that this morning?
This was this morning.
Because I joked, because I picked on you last night about it.
Tell the story. First of all, where were we last night?
So we went to Buffalo for one of your shows.
Yeah.
I was selling merch. You were playing. Great show, by the way.
Thanks.
And before the show, we were talking about how, like, you just love to just mess around with music, and that's all. Like,
yeah, that's my hobby. Is I'll write and record, and
I said to the guys, I'm like, I'm glad you guys are going to be recording these things for Bandcamp, because that means that when I show up to record an episode, I won't have a brand new theme song every week.
So what just happened?
We have a brand new theme song.
Well, I had to do it on purpose.
Yeah,
and I didn't tell Nick in advance, so I wanted to see his reaction to hearing the theme song. I just took our old theme song and changed all the synthesizers. It literally took me 5 minutes, but I'm like, Nick will find this funny.
It's funny. I definitely agree. It's funny. So I do want to take a moment to thank everybody who listens each and every week. We appreciate you. We know who you are. You know who you are. So thank you very much. And our patrons, I hope that they enjoyed the content that I did, because I did do some exclusive content. If you're listening to this and you didn't see any exclusive content, reach out. A,
it's really easy to get to.
Right. And B, it might be because you don't go on to stories. So the easiest way for me to do exclusive content was every time I posted something, post it to close friends in our stories. I did go live once for our close friends. But basically what ends up happening is, if you are a patron, whether you are at a paid level or a free level, if you just subscribe to us on Patreon, I added you, and you let me know what your IG handle was. I added you to the close friends list.
Yep.
And I went ahead and just kind of posted some random stuff. So there were certainly things I posted that were for everybody, but then there were things that I posted that were specifically for patrons. So more detailed stuff about my day,
which I'll try to do too here in a couple of weeks.
So if you didn't see it and you're like, I didn't even know that, reach out, give us your Instagram handle. If you did see it and want more or want something different, let us know. We're willing to try that. But I just wanted to, say thank you to the patrons and stuff. And for some of what's going to happen here, what we're going to discuss here, they may have already heard it, because I may have discussed it a little bit. But a lot of this I kind of held back for the trip. And we've decided mine is definitely going to be a 2-part thing, right?
Right. And I don't foresee mine being that.
It could, though, because you're staying off property. So you might have a whole episode just about, well, not off, you know what I mean by off property.
Maybe we could throw that on Patreon or something. Yeah. I don't know if it would fill an entire episode. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So some stuff this week that happened, I just wanted to kind of mention, that didn't happen while I was down there. So it's not going to be part of the review, or my trip report, I should say. Country Bears is open.
I've heard good things and bad things.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard exactly the same, like really, really good, and I've heard really, really bad. And I think it comes down to what type of person you are. I'm worried for your trip, for you.
I might be a little bit too, but you know what? I say this all the time, and I mean it all the time. I'm quoting Walt, that Walt Disney World, or specifically he said it about Disneyland, it's not a museum, and it's ever evolving, and they're still there. I mean, we'll see how it goes with those songs. And
I was there on media preview day.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely jam-packed, and I saw all the creators.
Well, that you happened to be, you just needed a pass. You needed the creator pass, and you could have gotten in there too.
Well,
somebody get me or Nick a creator pass, please.
Yeah, I almost paid for the D23 gold plus the preview ticket, but I don't think I could justify $200 to watch Country Bears.
Well, when I go, I mean, that'll be part of what I talk about. I mean,
Right.
I'm kind of hoping today we can get the report on Tiana's, and
I'll give you the spoiler-free report.
Well,
Yeah.
I said this to Nick last night. We talked about it in the car on the way out, which we should have recorded. That was an episode.
Yeah, it could have been a mini.
Driving to the show in Buffalo.
Yep.
But I said, like, you can tell me what's there. Like, it's because I'm not going to see it. It's not going to ruin it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My point is, I don't want to, because there are things that even in the video, it doesn't come through. And I don't want to go too far in my explanation of it.
Well, you have a little bit of behind the scenes story that we're going to get to.
We're going to get to that
in the second half of the show.
Yeah.
Things that are really exciting that your average Disney fan is not going to know, but that you were privy to on your trip.
This is true.
Yes.
So definitely some interesting stuff that I will be able to discuss, and I'm excited about that. And it was kind of cool. And it actually, I don't know if the guy meant to try to be selling me a product, but in a way he was trying to sell me a product.
Yeah.
It's a product I'll never be able to afford, but it's a product nonetheless.
So they sell Chevys at the end of the ride?
Yeah. Actually boats, because it's a bayou.
But is it the Carhartt edition boat?
Jeez. I hope my brother's not listening.
Well, the Carhartt edition's cool. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I would love to have the Carhartt edition truck. That'd be cool.
So a couple other things happened in Disney this week. Not happening to Disney, but
and things are happening this week as the episode is coming out. A big transition is happening.
Right. It's transitioning over from Genie Plus to Lightning Lane Multipass.
Right.
So I do want to preface that when I start talking about we did this with Genie Plus, that doesn't exist in that form any longer.
Right. Depending on what day you're listening to it.
Right. But
our episode right now, yeah.
If you're listening to this and planning this episode or planning a trip based on this episode, don't listen to anything I say about Genie Plus.
Right.
You can listen to things I say about individual Lightning Lane. Because
that'll stay consistent. Individual Lightning Lane.
They're just changing the name.
Lightning Lane Single Pass.
Yeah, so that's
and then Lightning Lane Multipass,
right,
which I'm looking forward to trying out.
Yeah, because I did utilize those. But we got a lot to talk about in the second half of the show. So I think this week, instead of talking about individual patrons, thank you to all of them. So thank you very much.
Cool.
Welcome back. So today we're going to talk about my recent trip to Walt Disney World. We're going to do parks today, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're going to do, parks and experiences as far as that stuff goes.
So my number 5 is Hollywood Studios. Just wait. So what's number 4? If number 5 is I'm joking.
Disney Springs.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This show's about Nick and his trip. This is not a list.
Yeah. Do you want to run this
I'm a jokester today, I guess.
Do you want to run this like an interview? Or you want me to go chronological and then you ask questions based on what happened? Like, what do you want me to do?
Well, I had a couple ideas originally of what we were going to do, and I ended up throwing it out the window because my initial thought was, let's do 2 parks episode 1, 2 parks episode 2, and we discussed yesterday that, I mean, really, you're just going to kind of tell stories of what happened during your trip, and we really don't have to run down every single thing because the majority of the people listening are familiar with most of the rides.
Right.
Except for maybe a few things that were new, like Tiana's.
Yes.
And I would just want to begin with just kind of giving everybody an overview. So it was the 4 of you and your family.
Yeah, why don't I do
Let's start there.
Let's
start with who did you go with, and then tell us where you stayed, but not details about it. Let's start there.
Yeah. So I went with my wife, my 2 kids. So I have a son who is 12. My daughter is 9. And I went with my brother and sister-in-law, who do not have children. So they went with us and, got to experience Disney with kids. They'd been before. They had not been on a real Disney trip. They've done run Disney events and stuff like that where they just happened to go down for it, but not like they didn't spend a week in Disney. They've never done Disney, if you get what I mean.
They need to have a Lift Disney event. Because then your brother and sister-in-law, they do like powerlifting, don't they?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
They did
Lift Disney, and you get like Goofy on the on the metal with like the big round.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny, actually. They could make like the big super round dumbbells. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I was just thinking of.
This is like 5,000 pounds Acme.
Yes.
So yeah, that'd be funny. And we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Which you said was very far away. It's the furthest southwest of kind of the Disney property.
Yeah, I think we'll really get into details. I will say that. Yeah, it's far away. I want to get into more details about my resort and
on the next
dining
episode.
On the next episode, but
Okay.
I can tell you for sure that it was not close to things.
And
Not that it wasn't a major issue, like
Sure.
but it's not somewhere you go if you're like, hey, I want to just on a whim go to a park. You can't do that there.
So what parks did you go to, and did you do all of them more than once? Or
No, we did everything twice except for Hollywood Studios.
sounds like a joke.
It's not a joke.
But when let's start there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I know it seems like a weird place to start, but let's just start at Hollywood Studios. People think we hate it, but we still love it. It's our least favorite of the four.
It didn't do itself any favors this trip.
Right. So the good news is, let's start with the good news, that you pretty much checked everything off your list except for one where the fire alarm went off.
God.
Let's start there.
Okay. Start with the fire alarm.
Let's start with the fire alarm.
So the only ride we didn't do on the entire trip was Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So my brother was like, I want to go in the Millennium Falcon. I was like, cool, because that's the only good part about the ride. So here's the thing. My brother says, hey, let's do that. I'm like, cool. We decide in the line, you're going to be a pilot, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a gunner. We have everything figured out. There's 6 of us, so it's working out perfect.
Yeah.
10 minutes from the Falcon. Okay, so we're wrapped all the way around inside. We're up on the top part of the inside, that area there.
Where there's the windows and it overlooks the top of the Millennium Falcon, because I feel like that's probably 10 minutes away.
Correct. We're in that area. We've gone through where they have all the parts and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's like the iron steps and all that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And what I thought was really cool is like my brother was really taking in the theming. He's like, look at this. He's like, this looks like it's 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly not. He's like, they literally welded this on to look bad. He's like, that is so cool. So like, it was fun to go with somebody who isn't used to the fact that like that's the case.
Well, people that appreciate the details.
Right, but that they were appreciating it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in line, and we hear them come over the loudspeaker. Well, we had not moved for a while at this point. We hear them come over the loudspeaker, but something, blah, 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 please exit the ride. And I was like, shut down. That's weird. And like, but we were packed, like I was waiting for the people behind us to leave. Then the alarm starts going off. And it's not like, it's very clearly a fire alarm because it's saying, this is the fire alarm. It's saying words.
Right.
This is the fire alarm.
And to be fair, in Disney, in multiple rides, they have different things that are part of the show and part of the ride that are similar to what a fire alarm would sound like. So it could be confusing.
This was making a beeping noise. Not as obnoxious as like a school fire alarm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be by design, so they don't like send anyone who might be have sensory issues,
mm-hmm.
send them over the edge because it wasn't super like annoying. It was just beeping,
mm-hmm.
and then in between beeps, it would say, "There's a fire alarm. Please exit the building. Proceed to your nearest exit." Whatever, but it was very clear. I don't know if you've ever been in a hotel where it actually talks to you too, where it says fire, like stuff like that. But it was saying fire, please exit the building to your nearest exit, whatever it was saying. I can't remember the exact verbiage. So we turn and leave, and people are like excited that we're leaving because they're getting closer. And I'm like, are you not listening to the same alarm I am? This is saying, and like finally cast members are like pushing people like, guys, this is a fire alarm. This is not hey, we're shut down if you hang out in line when it comes up, you're going to have a walk on. This is a fire alarm. The crazy part is none of the media, none of the, like the big, like the even the people who like overreact to everything, ITM, you know what I'm talking about, Inside the Magic. Even the clickbaitiest of clickbait programs didn't even cover this, didn't say a word. So I have no idea really what actually happened, and I never got any details about it, so I don't know. But we got evacuated. That's the only ride we didn't do in Hollywood Studios.
Now, I'm half kidding and I'm half serious here.
Yeah.
What if they had like Kylo Ren come out along the ride and say, you all must leave? I mean, you know, people would maybe take it a little more seriously.
That would be pretty funny, actually. If they come, you know, like use the Force to try to get you to leave.
That actually happened once or twice, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was shocked at the behavior of people. Like, this is very clearly a fire alarm. Like, what are we doing? By the time we got down near the exit, then people, I think, realized, oh, they aren't kidding. Leave.
Do you get any kind of bonus? Like,
nope. If I had used a lightning lane, I would have. They would have given me a multi experience pass, whatever. So at that point, just so we're clear, at that point when I left the building, that was down. Slinky Dog was down. Runaway Railway was down.
Jeez.
All three of those were down at the same time.
Well,
at that point in the day.
But again, the good ending is you still got to do everything. Now, is part of the reason you still got to do everything and you were finished so early, that was the day you bought Genie Plus?
I doubled up. I was like, because my brother was like, I really want to ride Rise of the Resistance. I was like, I'll make it happen. So I made sure we bought Rise and we bought Genie Plus. It's a lot of money. I'm not going to, it's $50 a person to double up like that. Was it worth it? I mean, for my sanity to be out of Hollywood Studios by 2:30 and having done pretty much everything except for, we didn't do the Frozen show. I'm trying to think what else we didn't do. We didn't do Indiana Jones. But my brother was like, I don't want to do Indiana Jones. I've seen it once. Once you've seen it once, you know what they're doing.
What about Lightning McQueen?
We didn't do that. We never do. My kids really don't like cars.
We've never done it. We're going to try to see if we can squeeze in there.
My kids don't like cars.
I just haven't experienced it, and that was one of the themes of our trip, is try to do stuff we haven't done.
Since we're on Hollywood Studios, here's how my day went. We rope dropped. This is a totally new thing for this trip. I've never done this before. We only rope dropped once. I think that we kind of did that more by design because we didn't want to scare off my brother and sister-in-law of like, hey, get up at 6:30 tomorrow.
Well, your son's almost a teenager now, too. He probably sleeps in a little bit more, too.
At Disney, he's not, though. He doesn't sleep in that much at Disney. So we did a rope drop that day. We rope dropped Rock and Roller Coaster, which did not start at park opening. What I mean by that is the early entry. So in hindsight, we should have done Tower of Terror.
Because that one did open earlier?
Not only did it open, so it was supposed to open at 8:30. It opened at 8:20.
Oh.
It was a packed day. Here's how I know it was packed. They sent us into the park at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Okay, so we were on Main Street, or not Main Street. We're walking down the boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard and whatnot. We walked all the way to Rock and Roller Coaster. We were in line for Rock and Roller Coaster. We're like 5 people back at 8:05.
Jeez. See, that's a good tip, though, for our trip.
Because there were so many people that they were backed up to security. So they needed people to go in. So they sent people in, but then they held the rope there at each ride. At rope drop at 8:30 or at 8:20, they started loading people into the queue for Hollywood Tower of Terror. Actually, about 8:15, they started loading people into the queue for Hollywood Tower of Terror. We heard our first screams. So we saw them doing tests. Our first screams were a little after 8:20.
Wow.
We didn't move in the line for a Rock and Roller Coaster until 8:35. I remember because I looked at my watch and said, oh, that's not bad. It's just 5 minutes late. It is what it is, right? And then we got all the way into that first room. So you're not in the actual room with the, where they're like doing the stuff at the booth and they're doing the mastering and not with the producer and stuff.
Yeah.
We're in that first initial room and it is hot. The air conditioning is not going in this room and the doors open and it's just humid and sweaty people already. And it's, and we didn't move until I want to say it was like 8:45 we started to move. We got on the ride around 9. We got off the ride at, or not around 9, around 8:50. We got off the ride at about 8:55 and went right over to Tower of Terror. I would have told you before we got to the park that if we did that, my wife wouldn't be riding either of those rides, or I would have not ridden one of them and she wouldn't have ridden one of them, because we would have had to stay off with my daughter.
Because she didn't do it the last time that we went.
Well, somehow my brother is the crazy uncle, the fun uncle. And so she decided, I'm going to ride Rock and Roller Coaster. And I turned to him and I said, hey, look, either one of two things is going to happen. This is going to be the greatest day, or I'm about
ending after this ride happens.
Or
tears.
I'm about to head back to Animal Kingdom Lodge with this girl before the actual park opens. And he's like, whatever. She came off.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. She came off and goes, that's my third favorite ride now. I was like, wait, what? She's like, it's my third favorite ride. So,
wow.
So it's such a weird ride. Small World, Big Thunder, Rock and Roller Coaster.
Okay.
So she's like, let's do Tower of Terror. I was like, oh my God. So she was freaked out by the spooky part, but she was fine with the drop. She thought the drop was hilarious. She laughed through it. So we did those two. We didn't have to use Genie Plus for those. Okay. I had gotten a Genie Plus for Slinky, and was able to finally back it up using our good friend Rob, using the Genie Plus Genie slots, which, as you're listening to this, is gone pretty much.
Yeah.
Or we'll find out. We're not really sure how this is going to work. We'll see.
We'll watch a couple of his videos probably before I'm there, but we'll be there shortly after.
So I backed that up to a decent enough time. We were able to do all of Toy Story Land pretty much. We did have to come back, for Toy Story Midway Mania. So we had to leave the area and come back just based on basically the timing of our Genie Plus. Did our typical, went over to, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That was great. My brother and sister-in-law really loved the pre-show there. I thought that was cool. Went in and did just kind of grabbed a quick bite to eat around 1 o'clock. Got a beer and bite to eat over at Baseline. We also ate over at Woody's Lunchbox, which we usually do. That's the
kind of like quick service grab and go.
Got like the Pop-Tarts and stuff like that. I got, and this is something I think you could eat because it's got to be gluten-free. It's the Tacho Bowl.
It's tater tots.
Tater tots. I got the one with chili because it was late enough in the day. It was more like a lunch. I usually get this one. You probably couldn't have. It's I usually get like the breakfast one, which is like got
scrambled eggs,
sausage gravy, and sausage gravy obviously has flour in it.
Yeah.
But the one I got this time was your typical nacho cheese, sour cream, chili, all served on top of tots with some jalapenos. It was really good, actually.
Sounds good.
For the price, I was really surprised at how much it was and how good it was. So that's just something we did. That was around 10:30, 11, somewhere around there. Grab that bite, finish up over there. Hollywood Studios, they've got some great rides when they're working.
Yeah.
But like I said, at one point in the day, everything that I should say this, Rise never went down while I was there.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
That's the opposite.
But Smuggler's Run was down. Runaway Railway was down. Slinky Dog went down. I was shocked. And that made it feel so much more packed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good day over at Hollywood Studios. So.
All right. Let's zip over let's do Animal Kingdom. That's the first and last park you did?
Yeah. So that's a great one. We flew out of Buffalo. I think our plane took off. We took off earlier than we were supposed to. We were in the air before the sun really had kind of even risen. It was light out, but the sun really hadn't crept over the top of the horizon. We landed at 8:30, 8:20. It was early. So we took off really early, and we land, and I had already booked in the air. I had booked us for Flight of Passage. I was like, I want to ride Flight of Passage. It's not a super expensive individual lightning lane. I think it was like $14. Maybe.
I was going to say, my guess was going to be 15.
And I could have gotten the Genie Plus that day too and just stacked stuff, but we didn't really feel like we needed to. So we landed. We make our way over to the resort, and we're in the parks by 11 o'clock, a little bit before 11, and it was not super crowded, but it wasn't super light either, because Everest had like a 40-minute wait when we first got there, which is not normal. But Well, we did everything that first day except for Dino Land, and we didn't do Navi River Journey. And so what we did was we did everything, like I said, we did everything but Dino Land, and we did everything but Navi River Journey. At that point, what we did was kind of, okay, let's relax. We woke up at 3 a.m. And so we knew we were going to be tired.
Did the kids at least snooze on the plane, or are they just wired and so excited that they were just up?
They slept a little bit. At least my daughter did. But yeah, we were, you're tired, right? So we did a couple trails. We walked through the Gorilla Falls. The gorillas were extremely active. We have new people to rival the tiger people
who are standing in front of the animals where you can't actually access them or see anything.
I will say they allowed the kids up to the front, so that was better.
Yeah.
Because that is an issue. So we did the Gorilla Falls thing. It's hot. It's Animal Kingdom, right? We stopped over at Dawa Bar, got a snack. That was good.
What snacks do they have? Oh, we'll talk about that.
Not at the Dawa Bar, but we didn't get the snacks at the Dawa Bar. Snacks over at the...
Oh, it's like right next door.
Mr. whatever.
Yeah, I know where you mean. It's kind of across from where you get the pins.
We usually get the street corn.
Right.
And I'm disappointed. What we were told by a cast member is that somebody at some point got burned from the open fire of the actual grilling of the corn, because they used to actually grill the corn right there.
Yeah.
And so they no longer do that. They grill it off-site in a kitchen and bring it over,
and
wrapped in foil. Yeah. It's good, not as good.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're not making it right in front of you.
So we chilled there, just kind of cool off a little bit. Walked around some of the Discovery Island stuff. Did some shopping. But Animal Kingdom, that's what I love about it. It can be low-key. And we talked about it last week because my arrival day was actually the day that we ended up recording with Tom. And it was a good, relaxing day. It honestly was, which is odd for Disney. Somebody had said on the live, I've never really heard of a Disney day being relaxing.
Well, that's our plan too. Our first day is going to be pretty much the same thing. We're going to go in late to Animal Kingdom, have a relaxing day. So I'm with you.
Yeah. So we did that. Went back to the resort and kind of just chilled. And then we kind of bookended our trip with Animal Kingdom. Part of that was by design because where we were staying, and it was just easier to get there and back. So the second time when we went, the last day, we went over and did all the stuff we didn't do. So like the shows, we did Lion King, we did Nemo, and we did Bug Life. And then we did Dino Land.
You said goodbye to the dinosaur ride.
Yep. We said goodbye to Dinosaur. We said goodbye to It's a Bug's Life. And when we arrived that day, we went straight over to Navi River Journey. We didn't rope drop, but we got there early enough that it was people who were rope dropping were still stuck in line for a flight of passage.
Yeah.
So we did Navi. That was about a 25-minute wait. Everybody with me agreed. It's not worth much more than a 25-minute wait for that ride.
We love it.
But
yeah, that's fine.
Everybody agreed too that it was a little bit brighter. I don't know if they changed stuff. I don't know if they changed the light bulbs out. I'm not sure, but it was good. It was a good ride. So that's what we did for Animal Kingdom. It was more of a relaxed stuff. I was disappointed. I wanted to go see the tigers. The tigers weren't even out.
That's a bummer. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, like the reason I know they weren't even out is the person, the handler or whatever, wasn't even there. So it was weird. But it is what it is.
So that'll bring us to Epcot. And I remember you telling me that you were very surprised with how busy Epcot was. And
oh my gosh.
This was the busiest park you encountered. Is this correct?
So the first day we were there, I would say it felt the busiest. It may not have been as busy as Magic Kingdom on the day that was the media day for Country Bears. But I think because there's 20 plus attractions at Magic Kingdom,
you can spread out and there's more.
Yeah. Epcot was like, I took a picture and posted it to stories, and I can't remember if it was for close friends, so patrons, or for everybody. The line for Grand Fiesta Tour was up all the way back to the ramp, going up the ramp to go out.
That's the way it used to be. I remember when Epcot first opened, that was the line.
Yes, but this
it's
is
not
not
anymore.
That's not
Right. It's
There was a 30-minute wait for imagination. I was like,
usually it's a walk on.
well, because we're like, we'll start on the right-hand side. So we go in, we go to the right, we go do Seas with Nemo.
Nemo, yeah, sure.
So it's nice, relaxing.
Was Little Joe there?
Little Joe was there.
Okay, good.
I took a picture.
Good,
Yeah,
thank you.
took a picture. He's alive.
All right, good.
Alive and well.
There will be major tears the day Little Joe is not there anymore.
So we did Nemo. When we were there, you know the anglerfish animatronic?
Yeah.
That was not working.
Really?
They did not have anything blocking it. They just didn't have it illuminated, so you could still see it.
Yeah.
It was so weird
Yep.
and just awkward. So I didn't really like that. We did the aquarium, all that stuff. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, me too.
So then we go over to the land pavilion. Let me tell you something.
Which is one of your favorites, so
Yes.
you're already excited.
We're in the line. I was willing to wait. There was a 25-minute line for Living with the Land, which is a long time for Living with the Land.
But enough, well, not too long that you will wait for that. Right?
I would not wait for Living with the Land that long if the queue were outside. And I love Living with the Land.
That's true.
But because the queue is inside and you're cool and it is what it is.
What
right?
would your max wait be? Indoors, the way it is now. What would the time be that you look at and you'd be like, nope, not doing it this trip?
Not doing it this trip?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Let's say you have one day. One day at Epcot.
Oh, I'd wait probably 40 minutes.
Okay. If you had one day.
If I had one day.
Well, because if you're going there more than one day, you can say, we'll hit it up next time.
Right.
Yeah.
So we get in line. I'm like, whatever, it's 20, 25 minutes. There's no way it's going to be that. Then we're standing there for 25 minutes and not moving. And then they're like, oh, by the way, the boats aren't working. And it never came back up the rest of the day. Well, when all those people left Living with the Land, where did they go?
Imagination.
No.
Really?
Well, they went to Soarin'.
Soarin', the same building. Right.
And Soarin' was now at 70 minutes. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So then we leave. I'm like, I'm not doing Soarin' today. We leave. We'll go do Imagination. That's a walk on. Nope. 30 minutes. So then I go in. I'm like, well, maybe we can at least meet Figment. Nope. That line was wrapped all the way through his queue.
Jeez.
So then I was like, okay, we'll go do Pixar's Short Film Fest. That was fine. We did Pixar Short Film Fest. We went in. We did.
Is there seating in there? Or is it standing? I haven't done that in as long as I can remember.
It's seating.
Last time I did that, we
similar.
watched the Captain EO when they brought Captain EO back.
So do you recall how it is for like Muppet Vision or those theaters where you load in and you're standing and then they load you into a room?
Yes.
It's just like that.
Okay.
Yep.
It's been a while since we did any of that.
So it was good. My brother liked it. My sister-in-law liked it.
It's AC, so.
Yep. So we go in, now it's like, okay, let's forget this. We're going to go through Moana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Journey of Water.
This is your first time doing that.
Correct. And so let's talk about that because it's a new thing and this is something that the listeners need to hear.
Yep.
This is the new Maharaja Jungle Trek. What I mean by that is that people need to recognize children.
So people were just staying and not moving from one spot.
I'm talking
long
about
periods of time.
50-year-old women on a girls' trip who are standing at the spot where it's the viral spot you see everybody do, like the raising their hand up and the water goes flying everywhere.
Yeah.
For like 10 minutes. And finally, I was just like, loudly said to my daughter, I was like, don't worry, we'll come do this later when there aren't as many people hogging up this spot. And then they turned and realized what they were doing and moved. And I'm like, because it wasn't just my daughter. There were like, and there were these adults like, why are you hogging this from these kids? I get it. Disney's for everybody. But if it's for everybody, do it once and move along. They were like, let's see if we can get it to go left to right. How about right to left? Let's see how high we can get it to go. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That was a little bit annoying. I will say, on paper, sounds like a great idea, this attraction. In practice, it makes that as part of the park so humid because there's all this humidity being pumped into the air.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the issue.
Yeah. Well, is there mist or some type of way for you to kind of cool off as you're walking through?
Oh, yeah. There are spots. There's like dry.
But I realize it makes it more humidity. I understand that part, but was that comfortable? And
yeah, it's very well done. I think part of it is it was so packed that day, and I was like, what are we doing? Like this, like I just want to see not just my child. There were other children who like really wanted to partake in some of this stuff, and they couldn't do it. Like one guy was trying to play like I don't know what musical song he was trying to. There's a spot where if you put your hand in the water,
it makes notes.
Right, and he was trying to play something like, and so he's standing in front of the whole thing trying to play this composition, and I'm like, cool, all right, cool, dude. So that was a little annoying, but all in all, it's a decent attraction for walking through. It's not as good as Animal Kingdom trails, but it's not as bad as like some of the other. It's not like a Swiss Family Robinson queue to nowhere.
How about the center with the statue of Walt?
Oh my God.
Yeah, beautiful.
So people who complain about this, and there's a lot of them, I don't get you. I don't get you. It was good. It was really good. It's really well done. The gardens are relaxing. It's kind of a cool area. It's wide open. Right now they've got the Encanto show going on. That show, it is what it is. It's just them playing the music and stuff. It's not like you've got a whole bunch of characters out there or whatever. But people are dancing in Epcot to this music, and like I can picture in a festival like them bringing smaller bands, not the bands that go on the American Pavilion, is that what whatever the pavilion is there. Not that one, but like smaller bands and playing stuff there. We talked about bringing another festival and calling it Summerfest or whatever we call that festival. We had a whole bunch of different names.
Because we looked at the gaps where there's gaps in the festival schedules.
Or adding in Festival of the Arts, hey, guess what's an art? Audio is art too, so music.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is going to be great. People complain about Communicore. Best AC in all of Disney World. Go into the Communicore Hall. There's tons of seating in there. I get it. It might feel like a waste of space because there's not an attraction in there. Go, sit, relax. You have a kid who's melting down, go in there, sit, relax. I'm telling you, I personally thought it was very well done.
Is there any food options in that place?
Not around there? Around there, yes, but not in there. So like around the corner, there is what's called Festival Favorites, and they have a rotating menu of favorites from past festivals.
Oh, cool.
So like when we were there, it was... it was something from one of the Mexican booths at one point. But it was great. I mean, I love that area. Statue looks good.
Good.
The whole area does. The walls are up at. You leave there, you go past Test Track and see the walls back up at Test Track.
I saw a picture of the walls up in front of Test Track, and they have like 3 giant Chevy vehicles parked in the front.
Let's talk about this.
Sure.
There is still a Chevy dealer
in there
standing outside there. Redirecting people saying, hey, Test Track is closed, but by the way, would you like to buy a Chevy? Like, he's not wearing Disney apparel. He's wearing a GM polo, he or she, but this was a guy when I was walked by, with his clipboard, just like they usually do, ready to take down your information, and standing by a Corvette and a truck, and I can't remember what the other one was, but yeah, 2 cars and a truck. It was entertaining, to say the least.
Anything else new or different at Epcot before we get to Magic Kingdom and spend a little bit of time talking about Tiana's? I'm
trying to think of some stuff I did differently. I didn't try it. My family tried some of the crepes at the crepe window, not La Creperie, but wherever the crepe window is, not
the one way in the back.
Over by the queue for Remy's.
Oh, around there. Gotcha. I was thinking of a different spot.
On the left-hand side.
Yep, I know what you mean now.
On the left-hand side, there's the sit-down restaurant. On the right-hand side, there's like a window, like a quick service. They really enjoyed those. They got, I think there was 2 sweet ones and a savory one that was purchased between the group, and everybody enjoyed them.
So everybody got to try out, and that's cool. That's good.
So that was new. I don't think we did anything other than I think that was it as far as new stuff we tried in Epcot. Yeah, I don't remember doing anything else that wasn't that was new. I will say that was like, there was one day it was super packed. The other day was like one of the lightest days I've ever been in a park.
Good.
So, because the rest of the trip was pretty light other than that one busy day. So you want to head over to Magic Kingdom?
Yeah. I think we can probably end with Tiana's. But before we move on, what songs did you get on Guardians of the Galaxy?
I got Conga, and I got Blondie.
Meh.
I know you don't like it.
No.
So
Okay.
So I got the Blondie song, and we got Conga. I would have told you going into that Conga was the dumbest song on the list, and we've done a list before about the songs for Guardians, and I was wrong.
Yeah, Congo's okay.
Conga went well.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Everybody on the whole ride was dancing.
Mhm.
It was fun. It was good.
So let's take the monorail over to Magic Kingdom. Let's not start with Tiana. And any things that let's start here. So the one day that you were there, I know we talked at one point, and that it was the media preview for Country Bears. So you didn't get to go in because, I mean, yes, we are media, but we're not part of the media preview that we're talking about.
We're not on a media list for them.
Well,
correct.
Maybe someday we can be, or someone please get us on that list.
Correct.
But so that day was pretty busy because there were so many people there during that day.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. You didn't get. So the official opening of Country Bears, I think, was a handful of days ago, but that was since you've been back.
Correct.
So you did not get to go on that. I want to talk about that first, in case
I
people are
didn't?
wondering. What? In case people are listening now and they're thinking, "Well, Country Bears is open. What did Nick think?"
So it was technically open for previews when I was there, but it was like media preview and then the cast member / D23 previews. So I did speak to some people who had seen it, but I didn't get to see it.
We
was
have at least
packed.
one listener who we know who was not a fan of it.
Correct. Yeah. So the characters were all walking around that like over there. They were much more visible. I think that was just trying to like drum up some stuff. Romeo was walking around. So, it's not Liver Lips anymore. It's Romeo.
Right. What his roaming costume, does that have kind of that Elvis look to it? Or is he still the classic look of his walk around character?
I would be lying if I said I remember what it was like, because I just remember seeing
in the
them
show,
glance.
again, I haven't watched the show, but I've seen the photos of he's wearing kind of like an Elvis getup.
Yeah.
And I think they changed Wendell's outfit. Wendell's the one with sort of I call it the scary mouth. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
His eyes are a little scary too.
Wendell's a little wonky.
He's a little wonky, but that's what I like about him. He's just a little off.
Yeah. So
Big Al, I think the walk around is exactly the same, but I think his outfit in the show was a little bit different too. And there's a 3 main walk around. It's Wendell and, well, it's not Liver Lips anymore. It's Romeo and Big Al. I think the 3.
So I will say this: it was Magic Kingdom, even when it was packed, was just so enjoyable. There were a couple rides that went down. I'm not gonna lie there. The train went down for almost half a day.
Wow.
Tiana's went down right while we were about to get on it. Like we were literally about to enter the load room when it went down. But then that was down for only a little bit, and they scanned our band, said, "Hey, come back when you're ready." So that was good. Tron.
I was just gonna say, how about Tron?
So after my last trip, I was like, maybe Tron wasn't as good as I thought it was, just because I did it once, twice, or whatever, and now maybe I need to like really experience it again. Dude, I'm sorry. Tron is ridiculously good. I know it's short. It is so good.
I can't wait. You've been on it twice since I've even been there.
Yeah, I've ridden it 5 total times.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I've ridden the bike 4 times. I've ridden in the alternative access seat, whatever you want to call it.
Both are good. There's not really.
I like the bike better, but they're both good.
Mm-hmm.
The bike is definitely more exciting. It can hurt if you have big thighs, not thighs, calves.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can be hard to get that,
because that's where they lock you in.
Yeah. But you just have to learn how to like angle your foot, so like you're instead of flexing, you're like doing the opposite, so that the clip comes in and doesn't catch your muscle. I personally had a great time on Tron. I got to ride it at night, which is, man,
Better.
well, the way that canopy lights up, it is so cool. You come out and that whole canopy is lit up. It's beautiful.
That's cool.
And it's a really cool ride.
I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I haven't done that at all yet.
I think the best part about the Tron area is that like it's a new spot where people can like kind of just chill
In the shade.
It's sort of in the shade, sort of not. So it's like lit, but it's not. It's weird, right? You'll see what I mean when you go there.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's kind of like a little bit of a wind tunnel, so there is some breeze always there that I've noticed.
Great.
So it's not as ridiculously hot right there. we did between 2 days at Magic Kingdom. We did everything that we wanted to do, some things twice. We did not ride
Astro Orbiter.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And we did not ride, what's the other one? A Barnstormer. We didn't ride Barnstormer. So those things we didn't ride, but it is what it is. You know, that happens. But, you know, we got a lot done. And Tiana's
Let's spend a little bit of time on that.
is amazing.
Yeah.
So let me kind of collect here all the things that I can think of for Tiana's. Tiana's is, the queue is ridiculously good. The queue is so good. Outdoors.
Lots to read, lots that has to do
Yes.
with performance and music.
Gardens outside.
and food.
And then you go in and there's still some nods to the old stuff, but you're in a salt mine, not in a, like, it's really kind of a cool place. People who are hating on this ride, dude, get over yourself. It is so good.
There's a crew of Disney fans who just hate things to hate them.
I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
This is such a good ride.
That's great.
I'm telling you, Rob, you're going to love it. And
Was the gift shop open? I don't mean to cut you off.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. Gift shop's got some cool stuff in it.
Good. I'd like to go in there. So you texted me at some point during the trip, and I asked you something about Tiana in sort of a general way, and you had mentioned, and this kind of stuck with me, is you said it was way wetter.
Yeah.
Is that the term you used?
Yeah.
Or you were
a lot more
soaked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I noticed it immediately because I was getting wet on even the smaller drops.
Yeah.
Which you never used to get wetter on those, wet on those. So the second day at Magic Kingdom, we rode it again. This time we rode it I rode it with a virtual queue where I got to see the entire queue. That was about a 40-minute wait with the virtual queue.
Mm-hmm.
And I rode it with a lightning lane. Lightning lane, there was you didn't have to wait at all outside, but still the queue on the inside was great. Definitely worth it. That day, I'm in line. So lightning lane day, I'm in line. And we're getting close to the loading. So we take out like jackets, right? Coats, rain jackets. And
Which we'll probably do too.
Yeah, this guy behind me who was one of the plaid vests, so the VIP tour guide, goes, "Oh, you're a cheater," and starts laughing. And my wife says, "It's not a cheat. We've been on this before. It's a lot wetter than Splash." And he starts laughing, and the family he's guiding is like looking around. And he's like, "Do you know why it's more wet?" And I was like, "I think it's because they took the cannons out, and when the water cannons would blow up the water would go up in the air, and therefore when they did that, it was displacing water out of the trough, and so there's not as much water. There wasn't as much water." He's like, "Close. They did turn the water cannons off, but that's not why there's more water in the trough. The whole ride has more water." And I'm glad he said it because I paid closer attention for the whole ride. It is definitely deeper.
Well,
Definitely.
It seems more like a swamp instead of like a creek or a river.
So this is not a spoiler at all.
Yeah.
You know, at the top when you first go out, you make that first bend.
Yeah.
Okay. In years past on Splash Mountain, there was water and maybe 3 or 4 inches of rock.
Yeah.
And then you were in that trough. There is no 3 or 4 inches of the water
is full.
It's full to the brim.
Really?
It's to the brim.
Wow.
It's deep.
Huh.
And like as your boat's going, you're pushing water up onto the river or the bayou shore.
That's very cool.
Super bright. The songs were great. Characters, they did a good job developing it. I met up with Ear Scouts Rob while I was there.
Yeah.
And he said to my entire group, "Does anybody have a new favorite ride?" And I kind of smiled because I knew what he was getting at. He was like, "After this trip, does anybody have a new favorite ride?"
Huh.
And I don't recall anybody saying that they had a new favorite ride, but I do know that both of my children were like, maybe not new favorite ride, but definitely changed the rankings. And I told him, I was like, "This is really close to being my top." And he said him too.
Wow.
So it is really good. I think you're going to love it. The character development I thought was good. I don't know what people who are complaining about. I think it's great.
People just love to complain.
Yep. I do want to point out, we rode So this was a theme on this trip a little bit. Us having some bad luck. We rode Little Mermaid. We counted. How many times do you think that the Sea Witch, that pesky Sea Witch, shut down our ride?
5.
Keep going.
Are they like little short ones or longer?
I mean, we shut down 5 times in the Sea Witch, in the Ursula room alone.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sure she was the reason?
Well, no. They come on and they say, they say, oh, it looks like a Sea Witch has shut you down.
I thought you meant literally she broke or something.
No.
5 times while you're in the room.
My son counted 9 times. It took us over 8 minutes to get through that ride. It's like, what, a 2-minute ride?
Yeah.
It got to a point that we were laughing about it. Like, and we're, of course, you can like kind of see into each other's shells and stuff. So we're like yelling over to each other, like, oh.
Well, especially at the Ursula part.
That pesky Sea Witch. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was comical. We were laughing. And the people, everybody was laughing. It's like, what are we doing right now? So that was not a super enjoyable one. And honestly, I had 2 totally different experiences on Tiana's because one was the boats were backed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was
at
slow.
The end?
No, it was like the whole way. Like you'd stop and wait and then a boat would go. And then you stop and wait and a boat would go. Because they were sending out so many boats after trying to keep up with stuff.
Yeah.
The second day, which wasn't as packed, where they weren't sending out as many boats as quickly, there was not as much backup. It was nice and fluid.
Good.
It was great. I would say this, that if you can get a lightning lane, if you can pull that off, do that.
I'm going to try.
Because nothing has changed about the queue being one of the hottest queues in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So if you get a virtual queue, great. You're going to get to ride it. If you get a lightning lane, better, because it is still a hot queue. It is definitely a hot queue still.
My question, and this obviously doesn't pertain directly to the ride, but so at the very end of the ride, there's almost a mini gift shop where they used to have gifts there. And then for a long time, they had a gift shop, which was called, it was called the Briar Patch. And that's where they had
Critter Co-op.
Critter Co-op? No,
Critter
it was.
No, I'm saying Critter Co-op is what you're talking about now.
Yes.
You want to know about Critter Co-op?
Yeah, because I remember going there and like my daughter was looking for a very specific stuffed animal years ago, and that's the one place we had to go to get it. So that's open.
So Critter Co-op is open. Critter Co-op does have very specific. So one complaint I've had about Magic Kingdom in the past few years is that merch stores are merch stores, meaning that you could go into Memento Mori and get the same stuff you can get on Main Street, and in Main Street you can get the same stuff you can get in Memento Mori, and even like some of the Pirates stuff. This was very specific. I did not see the Tiana's hot sauce anywhere else. I did not see the characters anywhere else. It was a very purposeful store designed around that ride, and there are a lot of cool things. I am not a plush guy. Like I just don't have a spot to put like plush up on a shelf or something like that. But there were some really cool plush toys that were of the characters you meet along your journey through the bayou. Lewis plushes as well. There were definitely some cool things in that store.
Great.
I think there was also some unique spirit jerseys in there. So that store is actually really nice.
Did you end up getting the hot sauce? I know you mentioned you were.
I did. I have not opened it yet. Right. I got some. I haven't opened it yet.
Let us know how it is.
Yeah, I will.
I know your family are big hot sauce fans.
Yeah, somebody commented it because I posted a picture. They're like, yeah, that's not hot. And I was like, well, don't worry, because even if it was ghost peppers, my son would tell me it's not hot enough. So I'm not worried about it.
Probably true.
So I would say, all in all, it was a really good trip in the parks. The one bad day was Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios was kind of a bummer of a day because of like just stuff shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
But we got through everything, and that day in Epcot wasn't great, but like we still got to do the countries and stuff.
How about rain? Did you get like rain around?
Oh my God!
Around 4 o'clock.
Let's quickly talk about the weather.
Sure.
We had, and I think I said this to you last night on the ride out to Buffalo. This was the best weather I've ever experienced on a Disney trip, bar none. Look, in the summer, once you get to 90, It's all the same.
Yeah, you're right. It's
right. Okay, when after 90, you could be 100. I don't know that it's really going to make a difference, right?
Because you're avoiding being outside as much as you can.
Right. There were days, though, where it was just touching 90. And this is true. Now we joke about it all the time. Like clockwork, 4:30, blah, 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 blah. Nope. Guess what? I am telling you right now, we saw rain, storms on our trip. Now, the day we left, it was really stormy. But on our trip, we saw rain once.
Wow. That's so...
We got caught.
Wow.
Leaving Epcot, we kind of got caught in some rain. That was it.
Huh.
It was magical. It really was. Because I was like, oh, look, it's going to get cloudy soon. And it never did. The day that we met up with Ear Scouts Rob, so Rob texted me. He's like, I will try to make it over, but it's raining cats and dogs. I hope you guys are staying dry. And I wrote back. He's in Celebration. I wrote back to him. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so like, I was like, it's gorgeous here. It has not rained here.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it is coming down here, and I'm not going to be over there for a little bit. And like, it never rained. It's not like,
wow.
oh, well, it's in Celebration right now, and then 10 minutes later, it's going to be to me. It never got to us. If you looked on the map, it was going around Magic Kingdom. It was like, it was as if like I was living in opposite land. Because here, like where we live, you guys were getting tornadoes, like literal tornadoes in New York.
Yeah.
And storms that you see in Florida. And in Florida, it was hot, but it wasn't raining. I was like, what the?
Yeah, we had a few days here in Western New York where it was oppressively hot and it rained every day at 4:00. And I was like, why are we getting the Orlando weather here? This is crazy.
I will just say that I was shocked at how good the weather went.
Good. That's great.
So I had a good time. Parks were great. The new stuff was great. I probably should have redone Moana again where it was less crowded. I didn't hate it. I think it's cute. I think it's good for what it is. It's not something that like I'll do it again, walk through it. Like, hey, cool, I walked through it.
Yeah.
The landscaping in it, the Tafiti sculpture, amazing. The bigger thing is, and this is so funny, you'll laugh at this. I literally didn't know how to get around Epcot.
What?
Because they didn't have a whole bunch of walls up. So I was
You're
like,
right.
I got lost. I was like,
where do I go?
Where am I right now? And I was like, oh yeah. Because like, how long? It's been forever.
Yeah.
And so there's no wall. There were no walls with all these arrows up. You got to go here. You got to go.
Well,
it was just like open again.
And I pride myself in being able to navigate Disney. It's one of my skills.
When all of your landmarks are gone.
I know. I'm going to need to study the map.
Yeah.
That's what I had to do before we went to Disneyland.
I'm telling you, it was hilarious. I was like, one time I look over at my wife, I go, where are we? She's like, I think we got to go this way. I was like, I've never even stood in this location before.
You take out a compass. Okay, so it looks like.
Well, I mean, and like if you're in the new garden area, there are spots of that area where there's enough trees, enough stuff around, or even in Moana, where you can't see the ball. And so you're like, oh, no.
Sure,
where
that's on purpose. It's a sight line.
Yeah, where am I?
That's funny.
But, man, it was good. We have some fun stuff to talk about next week that's new. There wasn't, other than Tiana's, I didn't do a ton of new stuff in the parks. But I'll tell you that it was fun seeing people who don't have children react to like my daughter was all about like, I'm riding with my aunt. I'm riding with my uncle. Like they're the one. And I was like, do you guys want to ride with each other? Like you're the married couple. Would you like to? No, it's all good. So it was cool. We had a good time. Fireworks were great. We did a fireworks dessert party. We'll talk about that next time because that's more of a dining thing.
Yep.
And then
so next episode, you want to do dining and hotels, that kind of thing?
Yeah, the non-parks experience. Although some of the experiences will come from the parks, but
Disney Springs maybe.
Got a little bit. Yeah. Disney Springs was a good day. Actually, it was a really good day. I did want to mention. You'll love this. We walk into Epcot, and the first thing my daughter says, I thought they got rid of the water tacos. Because the new structure for Luminous isn't really that much less obstructive than the water tacos were. I thought they got rid of those water tacos. I was like, apparently not. Sorry.
Well, if you really want tacos, we can go over to the
yeah.
Mexican pavilion.
Yeah, which we did. We did. And you can't skip Mexico.
No, I love it. I love it.
Got myself a margarita.
Great. I will too.
Got some chips and guac. Kids got some tacos. It's funny. We ate so much Mexican on this trip because, well, quote unquote Mexican, Tex-Mex really, because we ate Pecos Bills one. We might have eaten at Pecos Bills twice. Because it's like kind of our new go-to in Magic Kingdom.
And it's not all just tacos. It's pretty diverse menu there.
This is a shock, right? I went to Cosmic Rays. I know this is not the dining episode, but I just want to point this out. I went to Cosmic Rays, and I'm a food guy. And I went to Cosmic Rays, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to get? And I was like, I'll get this spicy chicken sandwich, assuming the spicy chicken sandwich is going to be like a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. It was like a legit good spicy chicken sandwich.
Wow.
It was a huge piece of fried chicken.
Good.
With buffalo sauce. It wasn't great buffalo sauce. But
we're allowed to say that where we live.
But I mean, it was serviceable for what it was, right? It was a big piece of, and my brother was like, I thought you said this place is bad. I'm like, I thought it was. It was actually good.
Good. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, it was actually good. And the kids liked the fries. So yeah, it was good. But it was a good trip. I'm excited to talk about the new stuff I did outside of the parks. We're going to record a Patreon right now of the Starlight Savannah tour.
Nice.
Let me tell you, worth the money. It was so cool.
Cool. Can't wait to hear about it. You haven't told me much about it. So.
Yeah, I've been on purpose. I've kind of kept it secret. So
cool.
But thanks, guys, for being loyal listeners, and we appreciate all that you guys do as far as supporting us on Patreon or listening over on Spotify. So it's a great big beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.